Guys ready to roll? Mr. Vick, sir, congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent job. Obviously, you needed to bounce back, in a pretty big way from what happened to you last summer. Can you talk about doing that in your home state? I mean, how good that kind of felt when you got in there?
It's great. It's so great. I'm like a little kid right now. I'm so happy. This is my state. I love to fight here. I wish I could fight in Texas more often. And the outcome is what I envisioned. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and I study this stuff like religiously. And I visualized this, and I pictured it literally to the exact finish, the Darce choke. And I knew, I just knew it was going to happen. I really believe in my process, and I believe in everything. I knew it was going to happen for me.
So that was your game plan going in. You didn't talk to us necessarily about what your game plan was going to be the other day, but you saw it going down exactly like that.
100%.
Get to the ground and choke him.
Yeah, I knew that. Well, I knew that it was going to present itself because I knew that he was going to try to wrestle me. I knew he was going to try to wrestle me. I knew a lot of these guys. I don't know why they think I can't wrestle. I've been taken down a few times in the UFC, but no one's ever held me down. Like, the longest I've been held down, I think, was a couple fights ago for like maybe a couple minutes, and the dude literally did nothing on top. So a couple guys have gotten me down, but no one's been able to get me down, keep me down, and then I'm always a threat with my submission game, my neck attacks, and me and my coaches have drilled those moves thousands and thousands of reps, and I knew that was the one that I would catch them in.
Do you think guys feel like because you're usually so much taller than a lot, I mean, you had a pretty good height advantage today, that he might have felt like, it's going to be a little bit easier to get you off your feet?
Yeah, that and the fact that I've never wrestled, and I mean, realistically, he should be able to take me down. He's a 3-time NA All-American. Why shouldn't he take me down? But I work hard, and I caught up, and I have great coaching staff, and I believe in myself, and my coaches believe in me. I believe in them, and I've progressed, and I'm not just someone you can just come take down, and then you got to protect your neck when you do go for takedowns with me anyway.
The first couple times in the second round that you had that choke on, it looked to be pretty tight. I mean, did you feel like, especially on the second one, that if you couldn't get it right then, that it was just that you had kind of crossed over that threshold and you'd be able to easily get it in the third if it came up again?
I just couldn't believe he got out of it, to be honest with you. He did the right defense. He tried to flatten out his chest and flatten himself out. But honestly, it sounds weird, but I think I had it too deep. Sometimes I have problems. My arms are so long that when I fight guys my weight class, I have a problem adjusting it, and I guess I need to drill that a little more. But I felt like maybe I shot the arm a little too deep because as I was looking and I was squeezing, I could see how high my arm. My forearm was up, and I felt like I needed to pull it down a little bit, and I just didn't adjust it in time. And then the second time when I got it, I knew it was on. I heard him gurgling and making these weird noises, and I knew I wouldn't let go of it. He was done.
You talked right at the start about you wish you could fight in Texas all the time, and obviously that you asked in a pretty big way for that card coming up in May. Is there anybody that you would want to fight on that card, or you just want to get on it, period, and make sure you're fighting in Dallas?
I want to make sure I'm getting on it, period. I would like to fight someone in the top 15. I want to be, I want to move up. My goal is to be a world champion. I got my chance last time, and I blew it, and I'm going to redeem myself. I know that I'm one of the best fighters in the world, that I know I can contend with these guys, and I would love to fight someone in the top 10, top 15. I would love to fight one of the guys I've lost to, Benil again or Michael Chiesa. I know that's probably not going to happen, but above all, I want to be on the card, though, for sure. I want to be on the card. I want to fight on that card 100%.
Thanks, man.
And I want on the main card. I don't want on the prelims. I want on the pay-per-view. What's up, Mike? How you doing, bro?
So you like attention, though.
Yes, I crave it. No, I'm more low key nowadays.
Yeah.
More focused on fighting.
I know you talked about being underestimated as a striker, but how about, just kind of being underestimated, period? I mean, this was kind of an up and coming fighter, and you might have been overlooked just in general.
Yeah, I think I was overlooked for sure. I kind of thrive off of being the underdog because then it's like, I have nothing to lose. But in my mind, I knew that I was in the underdog, and I knew my coaches and my team and anyone who's around me knew that I wasn't the underdog. I think that I had one bad performance, which clearly I've come back from. The Paige Van Zandt fight was just, they say sometimes it's just not your night, but for years and years of fighting, I didn't have anything left to give because I wore my body out so much, and then when I got into the fight, I just crashed, and that's why I took 15 months off because I worked with a performance doctor, Dr. Cowan, and we did extensive labs, and I got my body back to feeling good again, and I started feeling like the fighter that I always knew I was. And I think that people judged me off that one performance and thought, instead of thinking, hey, maybe there's something wrong with Felice, they thought, oh, maybe she's just old and washed up. And then I think that sometimes the veterans in the sport actually get overlooked because, we're not these young up-and-coming fighters that you can market. So it's like we kind of get left behind and, like, forgotten about. And I wanted to prove that, hey, I'm here. I'm here to stay. Like, I never went anywhere. I fell down. I got back up again, and I came back stronger.
I mean, wouldn't you say that experience trumps youth a lot of times anyways? I mean, that seems to kind of be able to work in your advantage, especially in the next few years.
I think it does, but I also think that sometimes when you're a fighter and you have the experience, if it takes a toll on your body and your mind, and you don't necessarily know something's wrong and you don't know how to fix it, then you keep going down this downhill slope. And I knew, like, when I performed against Paige, I was like, I don't know what happened. I couldn't move. My body just couldn't move. And my doctor had reached out to my manager because he worked with a lot of fighters, and he's like, there's something wrong, with Felice and her levels, and I can fix her, I can help her. And I think that if I hadn't gotten fixed, then I probably just would have kept going on a downward slope and been somebody's stepping stone. I think that that's what, happens with the people with the experience. They use as somebody to build these young up-and-comers. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was a 3-1 underdog, so I was definitely overlooked. I didn't mind it. I kind of don't really pay too much attention to that stuff anymore. Of course, I knew about it, and I was like, well, that's fine. I'm going to show everyone I'm not the underdog. I'm here to stay. I didn't go anywhere. I had I had one bad fight, and I hit rock bottom, and it was good for me because it made me realize that I needed to make some adjustments.
We talked about, her potentially overlooking your striking. Do you feel like there was any point that you hit her with anything in the fight where she realized, oh man, I may have bitten off more than I can chew here?
I can't speak on Grasso's behalf because I wasn't inside her head, but I definitely could see it on her face that when I hit her, she knew she was in a fight, and I expected that. I anticipated it. I know I can hit hard, and I know I can strike, and I think that now that I don't have all this anxiety, I went in there more calm and more patient and more relaxed, and I wasn't just going in there seeing red and putting myself in bad situations. Like I said, I actually don't I try not to pay too much attention to the media or what she's saying, what she's thinking. I don't listen to any of, my opponent's interviews because I know sometimes whatever she thought, that's fine. I expected that she, believed her own hype, and rightfully so. She's a great fighter. I was, she kept me on my toes. I knew that it was going to be a tough fight. But I knew I could handle it, and I don't necessarily, my record doesn't necessarily prove like what I'm about. It's not a fantastic record, but I fought some of the top girls, in my division and in 1 and 2 weight divisions above me. So if you do your research, you got to know that probably going to be in for a fight. But I think, again, she probably thought she was fighting the fighter that fought Paige Van Zandt. And then I fought Kylan Curran, and I didn't get to show much because it was over and under 2 minutes.
Yeah. What felt better, tonight or the current fight? I mean, the current fight you got to do at home, and it was that great feeling, and you know, this was dominant but in a different way.
They were both satisfying in their own way. The Kylan Curran fight was great. It was in my hometown. It was the turning point fight for me. It showed me that, hey, you know, I still am that fighter that I always knew I was and always knew I could be. I just had to adjust a few things, and it was great because I wasn't, you know, I didn't have all these scratches on my face, but I look pretty cool at the airport. So, but I think just this fight is definitely more satisfying because Grasso was, you know, an up-and-comer, and I was a 3-1 underdog, and I know she was supposed to beat me, and she was supposed to be this rising star, and I got to be the one to stop the undefeated girl, you know, so it feels really nice.
You had two pretty, you know, serious call-outs there at the end. Do you feel like if, regardless of which one of those two you got, if you got it, and won, are you right there in the title picture, or do you not even think about that kind of thing right now?
No, I just think about one fight at a time. I don't like to jump ahead too much. I just want to be in the present and think about what's in front of me right now. Even now, you know, I don't know who I'm going to fight. I would hope that the UFC would do the right thing and give me either Paige or Michelle Waterson, because, you know, I wasn't vocal about it, but I was offered the Waterson fight in Sacramento, and I accepted it, and then 2 weeks later I had it taken away from me and given to Paige. And that was a fight people I don't think know, but I was on a reality show with Michelle Waterson. It was a Muay Thai show, Master Toddy's Fight Girls, a long time ago, like 10 years ago. And I had been trying to fight her in a Muay Thai fight ever since then, and then in MMA. So she's a fight that I've always wanted. And when I call these people out, it's not in a disrespectful way. You know, I feel really confident in myself again, and I feel that, you know, I would like to climb the ranks and show people what I can do, and, you know, fight these fights that I want.
You mentioned that the reason you were taking time off was to sort of recover mentally. You made a statement about your cortisone levels and things like that being low. Do you attribute that to the frequency of your fighting, and do you feel that or fighting too much can contribute to things like that?
Fighting too much definitely can contribute, but I also think that for a lot of years I've been in my own head, and I'm also very hard on myself. So every fight was never good enough for me. Every fights that I won, and then every camp, I always felt I had to top myself. And I'm a very like OCD, like obsessive person. I always thought, okay, I got to diet harder, I got to train harder, I got to train more. And when you're fighting so often, and like you always have to top yourself, and sometimes like it's too much, you know, like too much of anything is not good. And I think I just found the balance, you know, and I think my performance suffered a lot over the years because you know, a lot of fighters, the weight cut is mentally stressful, and again, thinking less is more or more is more. Like I would eat less and less and less, and I didn't fuel up right after weigh-ins or anything, and I just would go in there and just kind of hope for the best, hope that my training would pay off, and I forgot the question.
Last one. I know you don't expect to take that large amount of time off. For you, what's a good amount of fights to have per year?
You know, I want to say, oh, put me back in there. I want to fight a lot. I want to fight often. But that's what got me to the point to being burnt out. You know, I have over 50 fights now. I have a pretty extensive career between MMA and kickboxing. I've been doing it for 14 years. Ideally, I would be happy fighting twice a year. I know that's probably not what the UFC wants. I'm not saying that no UFC. I'm only gonna fight in 6 months. Don't call me to fight in 3. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but that's a good pace for me. I can manage that. I can handle it, and I've also dedicated my life to this sport, and I feel that I can. Sometimes I just want to live my life now, and I know it sounds like, oh, what are you, not disciplined? You don't love fighting? No, I love fighting. Like I said, I've dedicated my youth to this sport. Started when I was 18, and now sometimes I just want to enjoy my life a little bit. So twice a year is good. Thank you.
Mr. Zombie, congratulations. Can you just can you talk about what it really felt like to finally get back in there after so long? I mean, 3.5 years is a long time away.
그 오랫동안 공백하고 나서 드디어 다시 컴백하니까 기분은 어떠세요?
일단 너무 좋고 그 긴 시간 동안 내 옆에 있어준 사람들이 많이 생각납니다.
First of all, it feels really, really good, and I wanted to really thank all of the people who stood by me in that long time off.
Did he have any kind of way that he expected this fight to play out? I mean, or could he possibly have expected he could get a first round knockout? I mean, it would seem realistic that he would want to feel his way through things and maybe get into the second round and see what could happen after that.
이게 원래 머릿속으로 지운 거 있었나요? 뭐 이렇게 이기는 건 뭐 하지 못했을 것 같은데 원래 어떻게 될 거라고 생각했어요?
약간 이제 시합하는 마인드를 조금 바꾼 게 5라운드 판정으로 무조건 이긴다고 생각하고 있었고 그 안에 너가웃이나 서브미션이 나오면 뭐 그냥 기쁘게 받아들이자 이런 마인드로 시합했어요.
I've changed the way I think a little bit about the fighting, and so I actually was expecting and planning for a 5-round decision. But I thought, if I can catch the knockout or a submission, then even better.
Was there anything that Dennis did? I know the knockout came pretty early in the fight, but was there anything that happened in that first couple minutes that let him see that there might be an opening quicker than he could have expected?
혹시 데니스 버뮤드 선수에 대해서 그 첫 몇 분밖에 안 됐는데요. 그 동작이나 기술에 대해서 뭐 좀 빈틈이 보였나요?
일단 레슬링으로 나올 걸 알고 있었고 레슬링 쪽으로 연습을 많이 했기 때문에 안 당한 거라고 생각은 하고 있어요. 뭐 특별히 그런 건 없어요. 생각했던 대로 왔던 것 같아요.
No, not really. I knew that he was going to come out and push me with his wrestling, and that is exactly what happened. But for as long as the fight went, it was about what I expected.
3.5 years, as we said, very long time. Was there any point in that time when he thought to himself, you know what, this is such a long time that I'm going to have to be out, that I know I'm going to have to be out. Maybe I never will make it back to the UFC, or was it always in his head that this is no problem, I will make it back?
그 3년 반을 공백했는데 혹시 그동안 좀 자신을 의심했던 시기 있었나요? 혹시 이거 너무 길다, 이젠 UFC 포기해야 되겠다, 이런 생각이 있었어요? 아니면 계속 자신 있게 본인을 믿고 있었어요?
나도 사람인지라 내가 이런 시대를 따라갈 수 있을까, 기술들을 따라갈 수 있을까 이런 생각 많이 했어요. 네, 눈물 날 것 같아요 지금.
Yeah, I'm human too, and so there were times when I thought, can I keep up with the game? Can I keep developing my techniques? And sure, that's what I thought, and now I kind of feel like I'm about to cry.
Well, congrats again on the big win. I mean, that was huge, and I don't think a lot of people expected it because 3.5 years is such a long time. But with a high-profile win like this in a main event against a guy who is, had a couple down spots lately, but has mostly been up in the last few years. Is this a win that he feels like gets him right back in that title conversation immediately now that he's back?
아마 많은 사람들이 이런 결과를 예상하지 못했을 것 같은데, 근데 이렇게 큰 무대에서 그 메인 이벤트로 강한 상대를 이겼으니까 이제 다시 뭐 챔피언 컨텐더 됐다고 생각해요.
항상 챔피언이 목표고 이번 경기로 그랬으면 좋겠습니다.
Yeah, I always my goal is always to be the champion, and I think that this fight has put me back in the game.
UFC가 원래 홈 이제 선수들에게 특히 치어링이 강한데 외국인이고 3년 만에 복귀전을 가슴에도 버뮤대 선수보다도 더 큰 환호를 받았습니다. 그 이유가 뭐라고 생각하시는지, 그리고 코리안 좀비의 복귀를 기다렸고 축하해준 휴스턴 도민들에게 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
So the question, two questions actually. The first question was, usually when a foreign fighter fights in America, he's kind of like the away team. They get booed a lot and things like that. But in this particular fight, he was actually getting more of the cheers. Bermudez was getting more of the boos. So how did that feel? And 두 번째 뭐였죠? And also, a lot of people from Houston came out to see the show. Is there anything he'd like to say to the people of Houston?
질문 첫 번째가 뭐였죠?
첫 번째 질문은
뭐 항상 건방진 말일 수 있지만 항상 뭐 그랬었기 때문에, 근데 그게 더 부담이 많이 돼요. 제가 그런 환호가 더 많은 게 부담이 좀 많이 되고, 근데 최대한 신경 안 쓰려고 노력을 했고, 그리고 제가 좀 한인분들이 미리 만약 연락이 됐으면 휴스턴에서 준비를 할 수 있었는데 일단 그게 안 돼서 조금 아쉽고, 다음번에 휴스턴에서 시합할 수 있는 기회가 오면 다음에는 휴스턴 한인분들의 도움 받고 싶습니다. 응원 와주셔서 감사합니다.
Okay. So the first answer to the first question was that he doesn't want to sound conceited, but that actually happens quite a bit in his fights where he gets cheered a lot, and it's even in America, and it's actually a little bit of a burden to him. He feels a little bit of pressure because of that, but of course he appreciates it. And also for the fans here in Houston, in particular the Korean community here in Houston, if we had more time to come and prepare in Houston and participate some with the community here, it would have been great. But if I ever get an opportunity again to come back and fight in Houston, I'd like to spend some more time before the fight, and hopefully the Korean American community will support him.
You mentioned something very political after the fight. Would you please tell me more about that? So 굉장히 정치적인 발언을 하셨는데 그 부분에 대해서 조금 더 설명을 해주실 수 있을까요?
그냥 뭐 작년 한 해 그런 정치에 관심이 없었던 대한민국 사람은 없잖아요. 그냥 좀 제가 할 말이 아니었을 수도 있는데 그냥 촛불을 든다는 생각으로 했습니다.
For the past year or so, it's been a very tumultuous time politically in Korea, and so it's been very hard on the citizens of Korea. And I don't want to sound like maybe it's a little bit conceited for me to even talk about politics, but I just feel like it's sort of like my way of participating in the candlelight vigils that have been going on so often in Korea.
Can you describe what you were feeling as you were making your entrance, whether there was relief, excitement, what was going through your mind?
등장했을 때 기분이 어땠어요? 좀 긴장됐어요? 아니면 조금 시원한 느낌이었어요? 어떤 거였어요?
너무 오랜만이라서 너무너무 기뻤는데, 근데 옛날에 그렇게 기뻐하다가 시합을 망친 적이 한 번 있어서 최대한 안 기뻐하려고 노력했어요.
I was really happy, really excited to be walking in, but then I remembered that the last time that I got really excited about walking in, I got knocked out. But I came out and did my best.
Thank you.
Guys ready? Dennis, obviously, tough loss, not the way you wanted things to go tonight. Can you just talk about how things felt there in the first round until he caught you?
Everything was going my way. I felt I definitely improved this fight from my last fight, even though I didn't get the victory. Mistakes were made. The Korean Zombie capitalized on it, and it's all good. I mean, we'll keep moving forward.
You bounced back up pretty quickly after that. I know you weren't necessarily disputing the stoppage or anything like that, but as you're walking toward the fence, I mean, was it just a feeling of, like, shit, man, he got me? Is that kind of what goes through your head there?
I thought it was a little bit earlier stoppage. I know I was on Herb's leg, but like I knew he was there trying to hit me, so I was shooting on him. It just, I know Herb was doing his job just to, keep us both safe in there. But yeah, I just, I had a big platform to make a rise to the top, and it didn't go our way tonight.
Is there any sense of this being? I know you guys will talk about like lose-lose situations. I mean, a guy who's been out for that long, it seems like everybody expects the guy who has not been on the shelf to win. Did it feel like that at all coming in?
I heard some people saying some things about him and ring rust and stuff like that, but we were ready and prepared for a tough Korean Zombie. I put myself in his shoes. If I was away from the sport for 3 years, man, I'd be so thirsty, so hungry to get in there and get after it. So yeah.
I mean, is that what comes next for you now? Is being hungry and being thirsty to get this one back and get right back started on a streak?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my fights, I take a guy, I throw him down on the ground and beat him up. But I had some success standing. I rocked him, and we're just going to work on that now when a guy's rocked and then being calm and collected.
Obviously, the fight didn't last as long as maybe you would have expected, but what were you expecting coming into tonight against him? What type of fight?
I mean, ideally, I want to get in there, grind a guy out, take him down, beat him up. I was prepared for 25 minutes, but looking for less, but in my favor.